Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
But vows you took in vain, but pain be damned, I'll take the stand and outrun the rain.
Season 4, Episode 1. Wow. Welcome.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm Mike Wilner.
And I'm Liz Wolf.
Today, our guests are Michael Cleveland and Jason Carter, that award-winning dynamic duo, like titans of the fiddle. I'm really, really excited. Great interview. I'm sure you'll love it.
And I was very happy to circle back with my friend Trish of Trish Plays Bass. And she is just about to release an EP coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, exciting.
So what's going on with you, Mike?
Well, still gearing up for Fiddle Hell. It's next week. And I'm going up to Westford, Massachusetts to explore every nook and cranny of fiddlehood. What's very cool is it's not just fiddles, it's all instruments. It's November 13th. And you can go to fiddlehell.org to check it out. You can still get tickets. But locally, Theo Boguszewski, organizer of Porch Stomp, is doing her annual Clothing Drive Jam. We're all invited 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Strong Rope Brewery in Red Hook to hang out and jam. We can get there at 5:30 if you want to lay out potluck. Don't bring drinks because it's a brewery and they're serving drinks. And bring lightly used warm winter clothing for the benefit of the Red Hook Mutual Aid. It's going to be a great time. I was there last year. It was a lot of fun. What about you, Liz?
That does sound super fun. Everybody that knows me knows I like a good brewery, and a good cause together is really wonderful. So I'm very excited to announce that Jam Jersey tickets are now on sale.
Woo-woo.
So you can go to jamjersey.com and buy tickets. I want to make sure that you get a hotel room, so I recommend you go ahead and get your early bird ticket and get yourself a room.
That hotel does fill up for this event.
It is a small hotel as these things go. I mean, obviously, it's plenty of rooms, but they're a smaller hotel, and so I don't want you to miss out. And we have big news. We are going to be broadcast on an internet radio show called The Sonic Planet on Saturdays and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And one bonus for us is that we're not only going to be having the podcast, but we're going to highlight some music from the musicians that we've interviewed.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, curating that music. And even more big news. Coming up soon, Bluegrass Brooklyn will be launching a Patreon site where we will offer you all kinds of cool bonus content. You get a chance to support us. Stay tuned, more to follow. By the way, the intro music to this episode was Outrun the Rain by Carter and Cleveland.
Do not forget to follow us on all of our social media. You can find us at Bluegrass Brooklyn, BKLYN. Follow us there. You can go to bluegrassbrooklyn.com to see all our episodes. And of course, like and subscribe our podcast.
Absolutely. Okay, I think that's about it. Liz, anything else?
Yeah, let's get to the interview.
All right, let's roll. So here we are with Michael Cleveland and Jason Carter. Jason, welcome back to the show. And Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you taking time. You must be busy as hell.
It's pretty busy.
It's been pretty fun. It's been a good year.
Yeah, I'll say. Last time we spoke, Jason, we talked about you going out and starting a career seeking collaborations and stuff. Michael, you've been at it for a while collaborating. So what is the key to successful collaboration in this industry?
Well, I think the main thing for me is just, it's always fun to get together with other artists and play or jam or record or whatever. Really to find collaborations that suit each other in the kind of music that you're doing already. I've done some work here in the last few years with Bela Fleck that had really pushed me musically to a different level. And that's been really good for me musically and professionally for sure. But the thing I like so much about Jason and I is that it's a pretty natural thing, fiddle wise for us. We both listen to the same fiddle players. And to be honest, since I was about 13, 14 years old, I've been a huge Del McCoury band fan and a Jason Carter fan. So I've gotten a lot of my stuff from Jason. And
Very cool.
And then, like I say, we listen to the same fiddle players. We both approach it the same way.
So, Jason, what drew you to building this collaboration together with him?
We played a lot of shows together, his band and the Del McCoury band, or the Travel McCoury's, when I was with those guys. And we would get together and play. We would get on stage and play twin fiddles, and it would be just off the cuff and no rehearsal for most of the time. To kind of go back to what Mike was talking about, how we listen to the same people, we learn from the same people. Michael's really good about anticipating what I'm going to play. He knows where I'm going. He can tell where I'm going with a solo or something, or back up. He can hear something, and he knows what's getting ready to happen, and he can join in on that.
So how do you guys accomplish this Vulcan mind meld that is quite amazing to us audience members?
Well, it doesn't always work with fiddle players or with singers or anything involving harmony. It's like you meet somebody and you sing together and it just clicks. I can't really say there's been that many fiddle players that I could just jump on stage with, no rehearsal, try twinning stuff, and it work out so well as far as harmony. It's real easy to be in the middle of something and somebody, play twin fiddles, and you play together and it's close. Everybody has a different way of playing the same melody. You could get 10 people in a room and have them all play Old Joe Clark, and it'd be different enough that it's not universal, I guess you could say, even though the melody is. Everybody has their own kind of approach to it. And so that kind of makes it a little more unique when you can get on stage with another fiddle player or another singer, and it just works.
I kind of feel like me and Mike talk the same language when it comes to playing bluegrass fiddle. We kind of understand each other, and it feels that way. I'd like to go back to something too. You was talking about collabing with somebody, and Mike was talking about Bela. During this record, being in the studio with Mike, I've been a fan of his since I first heard him, and he was a little kid at that time. I was kind of a kid too, but I'm a little older than Mike. But anyway, just getting in the studio with him, and he can really push you to your limits. He's not only a great player, but he has great ideas of arranging stuff and producing, and a great ear too, which is very important on when you're playing fiddle. If you're just a little bit out of tune, Mike is some things that I might have let go at times. Michael said, "Man, we might want to do that again." Or tighten it up here, Carter, or whatever, But any of his advice is always welcome.
Watching the two of you, who are clearly at the top of the game, doing what you do so incredibly, and also pushing each other to improve, it's an amazing thing to watch. Let me shift gears a little bit. I had the good fortune to be at the IBMAs this year, and Jason, we crossed paths there. Michael, we didn't, but maybe next time. But Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Collaborative Recording of the Year, wow, that's quite a haul.
You're not kidding. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad people's liking what we're doing, I really am. We never know what to expect whenever you do something like this, and you just hope that people like your music. And it is super nice whenever they do, and
So you guys mentioned that you've been talking about doing this album together for 15 years or so. Let's start with Michael. What was your vision for that album 15 years ago, and how has that vision changed?
Well, I think it just started out as a fiddle album. We just got to talking about how natural it was to get up on stage and play twin fiddles together, and it kind of worked without any rehearsal. And I always said, man, can you imagine what we would sound like if we actually got a chance to rehearse? And then we got to talking about these twin fiddle albums that we liked, and that nobody had really done one in a while, Kenny Baker, Bobby Hicks, Darkness on the Delta album, and Kenny Baker and Blaine Sprouse, Indian Springs, and Buddy Spiker and Benny Martin and Buddy and Vassar and all these fiddle players. They used to do these quite often. And so I really do think it started out as a fiddle album. Jason, in playing with the Traveling McCurries, was doing a lot more singing. I mean, he is really one of my favorite singers. I'd say when I introduced him, that's the truth. He's always been one of my favorite fiddle players, but now I have to say he's one of my favorite singers also. And I think with the release of his album and stuff with Travelers, I think people are finally realizing what a great singer he is.
Yeah.
And so on my albums, even my instrumental albums, I've always had some vocal tracks, and I've always liked that. I like instrumental albums, I really do, but I do think it's good to change it up, and it's equally as fun to play and listen to vocal numbers also. But it's still a twin fiddle album to me, but in the sense that even the songs, they're all structured for twin fiddles. But I think it's become so much more than that. It's become an album that even people who may not be as into fiddle music or instrumental music can get into, or I hope so, anyway. The whole thing has turned out even better and even more than what I dreamed it would be. It's turned into this great album, not just a fiddle album, but with everything included, and to be able to play shows together and these IBMA awards. And it is just so much more than I could ever dreamed.
It really is a towering accomplishment. So, Jason, same question for you. How has this idea changed from when you guys first chatted about it?
I can remember talking to Mike early on, and I can remember going over fiddle tunes, and we were just picking what tunes we would do, and they were all mostly just traditional fiddle tunes that have already been recorded. Maybe not recorded not doing twin fiddles, but that's what the idea was at the time. And it has become half and half, I guess. I think I sung every song on here, except we do have one. I never even thought about this, Mike. I haven't thought about it in such a long time. But we do have one track on here that it's the Del McCurry Band.
That's right. And Del is singing.
Del's singing lead on it, and Mike is singing my part. He's singing the third on the trio with the Del McCurry Band. So that was such a treat. It was called Dreams.
Right.
And that was the first song that Del ever wrote. And that's on the record too. But the guests that we had, like Daryl Scott and J. Lee Roberts and Vince Gill and Sam Bush and Jerry Douglas, and the whole band too, they're all just all-star musicians on there. Alan Bartram and Corey Walker, Clark and Brian Sutton, Cody Kilby. It's kind of like an all-star celebration on this record, every track. And it features the fiddles really heavy in my vocal. I always mean to do this, but I don't always get to do it. But I feel like I got to give Michael a little credit for me starting to sing, because in years past, he would get me on his records and get me to sing. Besides play fiddle and twin fiddles with him, he got me to sing. He always encouraged me to do that. I really appreciated that. He gave me the confidence really to start doing that more.
Well, thank you, Michael. We appreciate
it.
Oh, man.
We all appreciate that.
Well, it's a no-brainer for me. It sounds killer. So.
It's funny. I was going to ask you a question about the incredible personnel you had on the album, and you brought it up. What's involved? Is it like the Avengers assemble, somebody raises their ring and it starts glowing and everyone just shows up at the studio?
I think we try to listen to each song and try to figure out how to make it different from the other one. And as far as who played on it, we tried to get who we thought was the best fit for the song. Like the song "Give It Away." It was written by Tim O'Brien and Matt Cummings. But when I heard that, I don't know why, but I immediately thought Sam Bush. That song made me think of Sam. So it's just like that's who I wanted to have on there. They fit the part. They had to be like the perfect person for the part before I think we decided on who we wanted to play on each song.
It sounds like it's handcrafted,
It wasn't random. It wasn't just random or. It was kind of thought out who we had on the record.
So we have everything from like straight ahead bluegrass, twin fiddle, Bill Monroe, Stony Lonesome, straight up through songs you're singing like Outrun the Rain, and it's an incredibly diverse range of music on the album. What was the thought process that went into selecting which song is going to make the cut of 11 songs on the album?
It was hard. Mike, do you want to jump in?
It was really tough. Like, I remember, and I think mainly Jason, he sent texts to, he reached out to all these people, these great songwriters, and then all of a sudden we had all these songs and good songs. Well, most of the time you're looking for a good song, and like you listen to tons and tons of songs, and you find that one good one, and it's like all of a sudden we had all these good songs, and we had to decide for both. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Jace.
I was just gonna say it's a pretty cool thing, It's just like reach out to we're reaching out to our heroes on all fronts here,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like for this, reaching out to the songwriters for the songs, and getting some of these people, like we called Daryl Scott, and he sent a couple tunes, and they were perfect, I thought, for our record. And then we had him. I actually got him in to sing on. He sang on "Vamp in the Middle," actually, and I thought he was the perfect guy for that. I thought anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was really loved what he did, and it's really. I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just so cool that you call these people who's your heroes, and they say yes, and they come in and record and play music with you. And I think after we were at IBMA, and this is not the first time I've mentioned something like this to Mike, but it's what a cool feeling it is that, like, this thing started off on one of many conversations that me and Mike have had on the phone. We used to talk quite a bit in long conversations. We say we figured out the world's problems, of course, but yeah, but it started off like that, and then it's like you look back, and I mentioned to Mike, I said, man, can you believe this? We started talking about doing a fiddle record and what we got. I'm really proud of what we got, and we've actually got to play the Grand Ole Opry. We're playing some of the biggest festivals in the country, and we got to play and sing on the Bluegrass biggest night, on the award show. We got to go up there and play our song for everybody, and then we got to play the festival, and it's just man, it's an incredible feeling, man. Just the whole process of this and recording the record and everything. It's an incredible thing.
It's been a wild ride, and watching you guys kind of take. Go ahead.
Wondering when I'm going to wake up from the dream.
This is the dream. All right, so I'm going to shift gears. Oh, but before I do that, so this album has obviously made a huge impact on the bluegrass world. Another album in the offing?
Not sure. We do have some other music that we could release possibly, though.
Michael, I haven't told you this, but I talked to our booking agent last night, and he said, we got to get busy on volume 2. That's what he said.
You heard it here first. Cool. So let me shift gears a little bit. Jason, I asked you this question last time. Michael, it's your turn. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Mount Rushmore is 4 iconic individuals who stand out above the others. So if I ask you to carve a Mount Rushmore of your 4 most important fiddle players, men or women, of course, it doesn't have to be the ones who play fastest or best or most, but the ones who had the most impact on you, what 4 faces would you put on that Mount Rushmore? And why?
And why? Benny Martin, Bobby Hicks, Kenny Baker, and Scotty Stoneman.
Wow. Okay.
There are a lot more than that. But as far as the way I play and what I like to hear as far as fiddle players, I think those guys set the standard, in my opinion, of bluegrass fiddle. They are 4 players that were way ahead of their time. When Benny Martin first started playing, and came on the scene playing with Bill Monroe and Flat and Scruggs. If you listen to his fiddle playing and what he was, the double stops he was playing at the time, it was just unlike anything anybody else was doing. Not only that, just kind of the groove that he played. It was just such a swingy timing and groove to everything that he did. And Scotty Stoneman came along later on, not too much later, in the early 60s. The song Orange Blossom Special is what really got me into the fiddle. I've got to say that Scotty Stoneman probably has the definitive version of that song in my mind. There's a recording that he did, and I think it was with the Stoneman family, but it's called Orange Blossom Breakdown Revival. And that version in particular, there's other versions of Scotty Stoneman playing Orange Blossom, but that one, I mean, man, it had the sauce. But the thing I really liked about Benny and Scotty Bugs is they could drive a tune and drive a band. I've got live recordings where Benny Martin or Scotty Stoneman gets up to play with a band, and the band's kind of so-so, or the timing is a little weird, or of course they're all probably playing on sound systems with no monitors and couldn't hear, and who knows? Yeah. But when those guys got up to play, it was like the whole groove of the band, the whole band changed, because when they started playing, they were laying down the groove, like, you're going to play with me.
Uh-huh.
And it would just elevate the whole thing. A big part of playing music is listening and playing off the other people. I played with a metronome. I know what 120 beats per minute feels like, and I know what it feels like to put it there and to be in the groove where it's going to bounce and where it's going to swing and where it's going to feel natural. And they bring it to that. The first time I played with Sam Bush, it was like that. It was like, obviously, Sam's one of the best soloists of all time. Really, to play with that chop and to play with Bill Monroe's mandolin chop, or to play with Del McCoury, or to play with Earl Scruggs or J.D. Crowe, or those guys brought. So Scotty Stoneman and Benny Martin. That's another reason I liked them. Bobby Hick was the king of double stops. I've had to put Dale Potter in here too, but
don't sneak number 5 in there on us.
All right, sorry. But if you listen to Bobby Hicks, that's where a lot of it comes from. And Ken Baker, he kind of refined bluegrass fiddle and made it approachable to classical violinists. His approach was totally different. I think those 4 fiddle players are the main guys for me.
Excellent answer. So, Jason, you're not getting completely off the hook. We're so fortunate that today we have a cohort of female fiddle players. Maddie Denton, one of my Mount Rushmore, made it to Fiddler of the Year. Go, Maddie. So let's get your Mount Rushmore of female fiddle players.
Oh, all right. Man, Alison Krauss is.
Yeah.
And I have to say my wife, Pearl, and Keith Hines.
Okay.
Ben, Maddie Denton, and Deanie Richardson. It's funny. It's like all those people, they have what Mike's talking about right there, about leading.
Yep.
Play and being able to, when they step up to play, they are in total control. And that you better be listening to them, because they're setting the time. And that doesn't happen too often with fiddle players. For me, it's a hard thing to do. But to have that much confidence in your playing and drive and rhythm and all that, those 4 ladies definitely have it.
One thing I spotted in all of them, and you guys as well, is term it like this: is step to the mic with a fiddler's confidence. I'm here, I'm driving this thing.
Yeah.
The first couple of notes, the first couple of chops into the solo or something, the hair on the back of everyone's neck is standing up and they're leaning forward, because now it's time to really listen.
When Mike said that, my first thoughts was, I wish he would give a seminar that every musician had to listen to and just leave it at that. Because it's so important. Because it's like people like Mike he has that better than anybody. He can lead the band with his instrument, with the fiddle.
Yep.
And like Sam Bush and Dell, their instrument can be a rhythm instrument, and they do it like none other. But that's the kind of playing I like as well. Is somebody that's got that kind of confidence, and they're a leader. They play like a leader.
So I also have to add that, Mike, you definitely have a side gig as a stand-up comic because you're the funniest man in bluegrass.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What did I do? What did I say?
Okay, I'll send you the catalog. We were at the festival and somebody shouted something out. He said, "Don't make me come out there." Go something. We're cracking up.
I do like to crowd surf every once in a while in the middle of the show. We get to trading fiddle licks and, get into like bamp in the middle or something. I just jump off the stage and into the crowds. And it's really important that somebody's there to catch me. I know that I can entrust our fans enough to be able to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to look for that crowd surfing now.
It hasn't hit YouTube yet, but I guarantee when it does, it'll have at least 5 views.
So, at least, I think you're right. So, Jason, advice to the fiddling public on practice. What would you say in our daily practice? What should we be focusing on most? Mike, you're next for this question, so you get the benefit of some thinking here.
And I think the most important thing is that you're playing and you have fun doing it. You should be enjoying it. I never thought of it as like practice, which sometimes it is practice, and I really wish that personally that I had more time to do this. I wish I had more time with my instrument in my hand and being able to play, figuring out how to make your instrument sound the best, how hard to play to get the best tone. How can I be a smoother player? How can I be smooth and keep a little edge on my playing in tune, your intonation? How can I be better at that? Because it's an endless game. I don't care who it is. If you're a fiddle player, it's a struggle to play the thing in tune. And you hear people play in tune and you think it's great. But actually, how good is it? It can always be a little better,
Yeah.
And your rhythm, your timing and your rhythm. But I think most of all, you're going to get the most out of it if you're playing something that you really enjoy and you're having fun by doing it. And the most important part is the hours that you spend playing. You get comfortable with it. I have to say this about Mike, man, everything about him, man, it just makes me want to play more. And it really does, man. I've never heard anybody that can play fiddle like he does, where it's so in tune and it has so much rhythm. He can play harder and louder and keep his tone really nice. And it's still as smooth as anybody I've ever heard. Sometimes when people play smooth, they play easy, but Mike can actually play super aggressive and it's still as smooth as silk. And I don't know how he does it.
Michael, you're going to have to reveal your secret.
Really impressive. So, Mike, you tell us how you do that. I know it's as easy as just to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
So, Mike, same question for you. I play fiddle. What advice are you going to give me to make sure I hit on my daily practice or my daily playing?
Man, you know what? I've never had a really good practice routine other than specific things that I'm working on. And I'll spend a lot of time on those. But the two things that I've found most valuable to me is when I got down here and got set up to record. And, when you get in the studio and you start really listening to yourself and isolating each thing to go after that needs improvement, it can be a hard thing to do. But I found that recording and listening to myself, really picking it apart, has helped me more than anything. Because if you got any kind of ear at all, you can hear where you're maybe a little out of tune, maybe rushing. The hardest thing for me to play, there's different ways the same thing goes with playing with a metronome. There's different ways of playing with a metronome. You can follow it, and it's still in time. It's definitely in time because you're playing along with. But I was talking to Brian Sutton one time, and he said, I'll always try to make the metronome part of the band to really lock in with the click at all kinds of different tempos. So I'd say playing with a metronome and recording and listening to myself had been two of the most valuable things to me.
That's great advice, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll take it to heart at least and hopefully improve my playing. Yeah. So let me ask you, Jason, obviously bluegrass, primary genre. What's your next favorite genre that you want to play in?
Oh, man. Honestly, it's kind of like bluegrass, but I love the jammy bluegrass bands, like Leftover Salmon. I really like that. I don't know if you would call that a different thing, but I love playing country music. I wish I could swing, but I'm not a jazz player by no means at all. I love it. I wish I could, but country music or bluegrass music is what I love, and that's what I play. Bluegrass is where my heart is.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going in the studio soon. Michael's going to join me on a session. He did last week. I'll let the cat out of the bag, but he played mandolin with me. Gonna do some more. But we're going to do more of some jammy type tunes on my new record, and we're getting ready to go record. We did some traditional bluegrass recordings, but we're going to push the limits a little bit on the next one. I'm looking forward to that. So,
sounds like a lot of fun. Michael, same question for you. The next genre over from bluegrass?
I have to say, I'm the same as Jason. I really like a lot of the jam bands, and I think it would be fun to do that. I've always liked to listen to great guitar players, specifically like Telecaster players, or I like people like Albert Lee and Danny Gatton and Red Bocard and a bunch of Kelly players like that. And I've recently gotten into listening to a bunch of 70s and 80s rock. I always thought it'd be cool to be in a Boston tribute band. You'd have to find somebody who was a hell of a singer, but if you ever did, man, I love their arrangements, the harmony guitar stuff, that kind of catchy rock music is really something I'm into, and that it would be fun to do some more of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, I really appreciate the time you guys spent. Congratulations on all the accolades. They're well deserved.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's great talking to you again, man.
Hey, Michael, do you ever make it to Brooklyn, by the way?
Yeah, every once in a while I try to.
All right. Well, we got a whole bunch of jams.
I wish I could more. The pizza's right there. I love it.
All right, there you go. It is the Bluegrass Borough, so we got to get you guys down here.
We go there and try it. You could show me your favorite pizza place, Mike.
I got them, man. I come by it honest because my mom grew up in New Jersey. Man, I love New York. I don't know that I would ever live there, but it's just a cool place to visit. My friend Andy Statman is there, and I try to visit him whenever I'm there. It's always fun. It's amazing. We went on vacation to New York, and somebody said there's this jam that happens at this place called Mona's on Monday night. It starts at 10 p.m. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if you had a jam on Monday night at 10 p.m. where I'm at, there wouldn't be anybody there. But I'm telling you, man, there was a ton of people at this thing, great players.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there's always some kind of music going on, which is super cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get you guys up here. Michael, any given night of the week, I'd have got to choose between 2 or 3 different jams to go to because there's just so much happening up here. Yeah, it is awesome.
I wish we still had that.
And, Michael talked about how he loved New York. Man, I'm kind of the same way. I grew up in Kentucky and live in Tennessee, and people always talk about Southern hospitality. I've never been treated as nice as what I have as the times when I come to New York.
Wow.
Yep.
Friends up there, they treat you as nice as I've ever been treated.
That's so good to hear.
It's a great place to visit.
It's a great music city. We want to get you guys up here. Are you going to be touring up this way at any point, or what's your tour schedule? Either one of you or both of you?
I really hope to be up there soon. I haven't got to take my Jason Carter band to the Northeast, and I would like to do that, and I'd love to come up there with Michael as well. I would love to go to our Carter and Cleveland show in the Northeast.
Carnegie Hall, man.
All right, we'll set it up. I'll make a few calls. We'll get it set up.
Get us to Carnegie Hall. We'll do it. We'll be there.
Now you're talking. Wouldn't
There
that
we
be
go.
something?
We'll have pizza delivered to Carnegie Hall while you guys are on stage. We'll just cover all the
There you
bases.
go, dude.
I guess we have goals now.
That's right.
Yes.
You have
Always
new goals. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shoot high.
Shoot.
We need to put it in the air.
Okay, so thank you both so much for your time. Congratulations on the incredible accomplishments you've done together and individually, and for sharing all of that with us. And we really look forward to hearing from you and speaking to you again soon.
And thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
Well, hello and welcome back to Trish Imbrogno, my fellow Pittsburgh player, bluegrasser, and also known as Trish Plays Bass. So we brought Trish back on because she is doing and about to do some releases from her latest EP, and I wanted to hear more about it and your experience in getting through this album. Tell us a little bit about the album. I'm calling it an album. I know that's like old terminology.
Yeah, it's my debut EP under my own name. So I've recorded a bunch in the past with other people as a side person, and I'm very happy being a side person. But I thought I should record under my own name because if you go out and search me, it's hard to find me because I've just always been supporting other artists. So I decided it was time to step out in front and do something myself. So this was my attempt at that, and it's called Bluegrass Love Songs Volume 1. And maybe there'll be a Volume 2. We'll see.
Okay, well, tell us about the Bluegrass Love Songs Volume 1. Why these songs? What did you pick
So
up?
Bluegrass Love Songs is something I always say when I sing tunes like this. It shows that Bluegrass Love Songs Volume 1 are the ones where people stay alive, because Bluegrass love songs always have a beautiful melody. But when you listen closely to the words, they're usually pretty dark. Now, how dark depends on Volume 1 or Volume 2. Volume 2 usually involves a river or something a little darker than that. Volume 1 is, getting left at the altar or getting cheated on, that sort of thing. So that's the singing songs on this album are of that nature. And there's 3 singing songs and then 2 instrumentals. And the instrumentals don't necessarily fit that bill, but they have other ties to love in other ways.
Well, the first one that already came out, July 18th, Think of What You've Done.
That was the first one, yes. And I thought that really set the tone for Bluegrass love songs. I mean, is it true that I've lost you? You're not the only one. Obviously sets the tone for what that Bluegrass Love Song Volume 1 is all about.
And I think in bluegrass songs, there is a lot of time for reflection, of thinking what you've done, of course. But I always like to say that the melodies are so perky and fun and happy. And when you listen to the words, it's like, that's a little depressing. But luckily, bluegrass music gets us actually thinking, this is happy ending. Maybe she will actually think of what she's done. And then you've got something coming out September 12th. So tell us about that.
Yeah, September 12th is one of the instrumentals, and that is the Cherokee Shuffle. And that is my love song to Pittsburgh, because that is the tune. And I think when we talked before, Liz, I think we talked about this. Everybody in Pittsburgh at jams knows that tune. And it's a complicated song. It's not a 1-4-5-er. It jumps around. It hits that 6 first. And everybody knows it. Beginners know it. And it's just my ooh, Pittsburgh, I love you. Here's my love song to Pittsburgh.
It's one of the best versions. I've heard of it because I listened to it when we did our first interview. It's one of the best versions. I love that because, again, reminding our listeners that I have that personal connection to Pittsburgh. And so every time I hear Cherokee Shuffle, I think about home.
Yeah, and all the players on this EP are really killer players. Becky Buller's Second Break, she comes in like a tear. It is just like, I encourage you to listen to that especially. It's really good.
And then the full release of everything is coming out November 7th.
Yep.
So what do you think would be next for you after this? Volume 2, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think after Recover from Volume 1, I learned a lot about putting together an album. It's a lot of work. It's really gratifying work, but it is a lot of work. So I'm going to take a little breather and enjoy what I made in this, and then maybe plan Volume 2. I have to learn some darker bluegrass songs. I currently don't sing any of those, so I have to build a repertoire of those darker songs. Maybe I'll write a couple from the women perspective. Maybe I'll toss a couple men in the river.
And that is true. I once saw Abigail Washburn, and she said that she really loved singing those songs, but at some point she realized that all the songs were all the women dying. So she wrote some of her own, or at least one. I remember because she sang it when I saw her in concert. And so that's great. We need some more of those. Of course, we don't want to kill anybody, really, but if we're going to kill anybody, let's at least have it even.
Okay? We're going to balance it out.
Let's just balance it out a little bit. Let me ask you a quick question about that. As somebody who just put together this EP, I've been hearing from other artists that recording is such an important part of what you're doing as a musician, but there's so many challenges, mostly financial challenges, because it's not like we've got record companies coming down and going, here's an extra $100,000 for you to do that or something. Seems like that's an important part of the choices on how to do all of this. Is that accurate?
You want to have a really great product at the end that sounds really good. So you want to pick a really good engineer, somebody that knows what they're doing. I had Christopher Henry as the main engineer, and he knows what he's doing. And one of the cool things, though, about recording now is that digital tracks can be shipped around, right? So Becky Buller and Rainey Miyake actually did their tracks in Nashville, and then they sent them back to Christopher. So there's, as much as it might be a little expensive to do it, you have options now. You could actually have musicians on the West Coast and the East Coast or in Europe recording tracks for the same recording. So financially, it might be a little more expensive, but now you have this world of being able to have musicians everywhere contributing to an album, which is pretty cool. We all don't have to be in the same city or the same room.
That adds a whole other level of expense of getting people there, and so you miss out on some of the camaraderie of it, but on the other hand, you get access to really amazing artists like Becky Buller who can do these things, and the other artists that you had on there, musicians. So interesting new developments as we all work our way through figuring out how to get bluegrass out to the world as much as possible.
Correct.
So Trish, what's the best bet for people on how to find this music and download it and listen?
Sure. At the beginning, you said my name's Trish Imbrogno. That's a little bit of a nightmare to find me online, but you also mentioned Trish Plays Bass. So you can find me at trishplaysbass.com, also on all the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, insert all of them here. You can search my name if you want to try to spell it, or Trish Plays Bass. You can search on that too, and I'll pop up and you can listen. And I encourage you on Facebook and Instagram too. Send me a note and say hi. I always like to meet people.
Yes, Trish is on Facebook Messenger. That's the main way we communicate, and so she's very responsive. And again, I think that's one of the wonderful things about bluegrass is the accessibility to the really talented artists that are out there, and Trish is certainly one of them.
Thanks, Liz. I appreciate it.
Well, I was so glad to have Trish back on the show. I'm very excited for her. I love the music that she put together, and the fact that it's bluegrass love songs is just a wonderful theme.
Yep, and her intention to do darker music and get some murder ballads in there. Yeah, and of course, Jason and Michael are amazing. It's clear that there's a friendship as well as this powerful musical collaboration going on there, which really just makes the music even that much greater.
I was so happy to see them perform together in Chattanooga at the IBMA festival. And of course, one of my highlight moments of IBMA was leaving the hotel at 2:30, 3 in the morning, and there's Michael Cleveland out playing his fiddle amongst, I'm sure, a bunch of people he had never met before, most of whom were young, what I would call kids, you know, in their teens and 20s, and just big smile on his face. Such a good time.
Yep. Love of the music is what drives our bluegrass community. Okay, I think that's about it, Liz.
That's it. See you for the next episode.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you around the jam set. us out, we have Kern County Breakdown by Michael Cleveland and Jason Carter from their album Carter and Cleveland.